Okay, so we're going to do some review on what we're doing in class, which is writing linear equation in y equals mx plus b format, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So here's the question. Write a slope-intercept form. This is your slope-intercept form of an equation. So they want you to write an equation through -2, 1 and 1, -3. So the reason I wrote this equation up here, this is the point slope formula that we've been using in our class. x1 is a point, y1 is a point, and m is a slope, hence the name is point slope. What about x and y? Those are your variables that you're going to use to write the equation in terms of. So everywhere you see something that I'm substituting, I will put a box. So I'll write let's write y minus, put a box for y1 equals to a box for m and x minus a box for x1. Let's see what we can substitute. Let's label these points that they gave us. So these are first pairs. So first pairs are always 1. So let's write x, y, but these are 1 and 1 because these are first pair. And let's write x and y, x2, y2 because they're second pair. So we're going to take the first pair, which is x1 and y1. y1 is 1, so let's just plug that in right here. x1 is -2, and we're going to put -2 right here. Now, what do we plug in for m? It's not given to us, but they gave us 2 pair of coordinates. Then there's a way to find the slope using the rise over run formula, finding the difference between your y2 and y1 and x2 and x1. So let's try using that formula on the side right here. So I'm just going to write m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before, which is put a box everywhere I'm substituting. And remember, I asked you to memorize this formula, which is rise over run. And you guys always make a mistake with x and y. You don't know which one goes at the top. Rise always goes at the top, run always goes at the bottom. One way of memorizing it would be, think about yourself when you're sitting down somewhere and you have to leave. So before you can leave, you have to get up and then you can run. So always rise and then run. So anyway, so I'm going to put my boxes here for y2 and y1 and put the minus sign, division. Put my boxes here for x2 and x1, okay, and the minus sign. So let's plug in our y2. Be very careful. y2 is -3 because there are a lot of negatives and you can get confused between negatives. y1 is 1, so let's plug that in right here. x2, where is x2? x2 is 1 minus, x1 is a negative number. Okay, so that's -2, another negative. Alright, so now I have -3 minus 1, which is negative, what do you think, -4? Because it's to think of the minus sign as adding a negative. So you have 3 negatives. Let's change that as plus negative. It's because the minus sign means adding a negative. So if 3 negatives plus 1 negative, you have 4 negatives divided by 1 minus negative. Remember, subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding. So think of this as 1 plus 2, which is minus and negative always same signs. I went over the negative number. Same signs always become positive if there's nothing between them, if they're next to one another. So 1 plus 2, which is 3, and your slope is -4 over 3. So we have -4 over 3. So let's work this out. We're going to do distributive property. So -4 minus 3, 4 over 3 times x. Now watch out for the sign. I have a minus and negative. That should turn into a plus. So I always circle them whenever I see two signs together next to one another. So this is plus, +2. So you have -4 over 3 times +2. -4 over 3 times 2. Okay? Alright. So now we have y minus 1 equals 4 over 3. When you do these problems, you always have to bring things down as many times as you need to. So let's see what happens. We're going to make this a fraction and multiply it straight across. So that becomes minus the negative sign. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. And all we have to do now is move 1 over to the other side. Y equals negative 4 3x minus 8 over 3. Alright, I'm going to add 1 here because you want to get y equals 2, and add 1 here, so plus 1. Alright, not minus 1, plus 1. Alright, so we got rid of y by adding it to both sides, and this is what we end up with. Now you need to simplify this y-intercept. One way of doing this would be, let's see, why don't we just add the fractions. Common denominator is 3. Negative 8 is going to stay the same. And 3 times 1, remember cross multiplication, the shortcut is 3. And your final answer, I mean, if you have a calculator, go ahead, put it in the calculator, I don't mind. You can put negative 8 over 3 plus 1 in the calculator. Press, well, negative 8 over 3, put it in parentheses, plus 1, and then press enter, and you should get the same answer as me. Well, mine is going to be in fraction, and yours might be in decimal. So you have y equals to negative 4 over 3x, okay, excuse my handwriting, okay, and then you have 3 minus 8, which is, this is not times, guys, this is x. 3 minus 8 is minus 5 over 3. And that's all you have to do. And that's your mx plus b format.